My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is an animated television series based on Hasbro's My Little Pony franchise and marking the start of its fourth incarnation. The series follows a studious pony named Twilight Sparkle, her dragon assistant Spike, and her friends Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie. The six ponies, collectively known as the Main Six, go on adventures and help others around Equestria, solving problems with their friendships. The main target audience are young girls, but the show became a cultural and internet phenomenon with male fans between the ages of 13 and 35 during the 2010s. The male fans adopted the name Brony, a short form of bro and pony, to describe themselves. A Pegasister was adopted for older female fans of the show, a short form of Pegasus and sister. Bronies were a meme early in the series, but their relative internet popularity has gradually decreased over the years. After the original television series ended in 2019, fans continued to host Brony conventions around the world, create fan music, write fan fiction, and produce fan arts. Today, we are going to be looking at the crimes committed in the Brony fandom. The Fedex mass shooting. Where the shooting occurred is located in Fedex facility in southern Indianapolis, near the Indianapolis International Airport. The entrance is equipped with metal detectors and turnstiles, requiring employees to scan their FedEx badges for entry. At the time of the shooting, around 100 people were present within the building, many of whom were changing shifts or on lunch break. After the perpetrator arrived at the facility, the perpetrator entered the building before returning to his vehicle. Moments later, he exited the vehicle with a rifle and opened fire on employees in the parking lot. There was one employee who returned a fire with a handgun but missed. Jeremiah Levy Miller, a witness, heard the perpetrator shouting indistinctly. Other witnesses said that the company's ban on personal cell phones hindered those inside from calling for help. The shooting ended when the perpetrator re-entered the building and committed. There were about 9 fatalities, which included the perpetrator. The 8 victims included 4 individuals found dead outside the facility and 4 more inside. 4 of the victims were members of the local Sikh community, which, according to the chief, comprised 90% of the facility's workforce. 4 other individuals were hospitalized due to sustained gunshot wounds. A 5th person looked for treatment in another county, and 2 others were treated at the scene before being released. I will be putting the names and photographs of the victims to pay respect to them. Police identified the gunman as Brandon Scott Ho, a former FedEx employee who was fired in October 2020 for absenteeism. Following the shooting, authorities conducted a search of his home and seized evidence, including his electronics. Investigation of archived content from Brandon's deleted Facebook accounts revealed that he was a brony, a male fan of the children's television series, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Less than an hour before the shooting, Brandon posted to Facebook. Brandon's father committed suicide in 2004. From 4th grade onward, Brandon was diagnosed with several behavioral disorders, including disruptive disorder, anxiety disorder, and autism spectrum disorder. His behavioral problems led to police being called to the home on at least 2 occasions. He never completed formal schooling. In 2013, at age 11, Brandon was arrested for physically attacking his mother, resulting in probation and counseling. A more serious incident occurred in March 2020 when Brandon's mother warned the local authorities that her son intended to commit suicide by cop and had recently purchased a .410 Mossberg 500 pump action shotgun. Police took Brandon to a hospital and seized the shotgun, with an officer observing what appeared to be white supremacist website on his computer. Brandon was placed in a temporary mental health hold, but was released in less than 2 hours. The FBI questioned him the following month about the websites, but the investigation was closed due to insufficient evidence of any criminal violation or a racially motivated extremist ideology. Brandon used two AR-15 style rifles in the shooting, both legally purchased from a licensed gun store in July and September 2020. Despite the March 2020 incident, Indiana's red flag law, which could have prevented Brandon from making firearm purchases for at least 6 months after his detainment, was not fully invoked. Marion County prosecutors did not schedule an hearing with the required 14 days after the shotgun seizure, believing the law's objective was met since Brandon's family did not want the shotgun back. Prosecutor Ryan Mears noted that if his office had proceeded with the hearing and lost, they would have been forced to return the shotgun, given Brandon had been treated but not prescribed medication. My Little Pony animator jailed for possessing 60K child images. Tom Weissam, 55, has worked on TV productions such as My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and Litter's Pet Shop. Tom was sentenced in early July 2018 after pleading guilty to the charges in December, 2 months after police executed a search warrant at his home in Old Ottawa South. Police found 60,165 pictures, many of them duplicates, along with 1,626 videos, some of which depicted adults engaging in sexual behaviors with children. In some of the images, young girls had their hands and feet bound. In a pre-sentence report presented to court, Tom told a probation officer that he developed an addiction to adult pornography about a decade ago, but slowly became desensitized to it and needed something more. He turned to child pornography, Tom said, which became a way to deal with his clinical depression and other medical issues. A forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Jonathan Gray, conducted a sexual behaviors assessment of Tom and concluded he had a pedophilic disorder. Tom told Jonathan he turned to child porn in response to the untreated stress he was experiencing. Justice David Berg took exception to Tom's attempt to blame outside forces for his behavior. The judge told Tom he could have erased the images on his computer and sought professional help, but chose instead to continue on his destructive path because he didn't think he would get caught. The stressors in his life may have led him to throw caution to the wind, but the stressors did not create in Mr. Weissam an ability to take the pleasure from those images. That ability pre-existed the stressors, David said. Court heard that Tom was born and raised in Wales, where he worked as a postal clerk. He came to Canada in 1992 and hitchhiked and camped his way across the country before becoming a permanent resident in 1996. He has studied fine art and commercial animation and once had his work featured at Ottawa's Cube Gallery. Dr. Jonathan Gray told the court that Tom was a low risk to reoffend or have a sexual contact with children. The judge said he had to sentence Tom to a prison term, a sentence of 2 years or more, in order to sufficiently denounce his conduct and deter others from the same path. Earlier this year, the Court of Appeal for Ontario noted there was now so many reports of child porn related crime in Ottawa that investigators had to try-edge their work by how bad the child pornography was. Offenders regularly access child porn through peer-to-peer and encrypted internet networks. Tom was arrested after a member of the Ottawa Police Service Internet Child Exploitation Unit conducted an investigation of a file sharing network with an IP address in Ottawa. This case just makes my head just turn upside down. California man touting My Little Pony birthday parties gets 8 years in child case. Hey guys, this is Editing Augustus here, and I wanted to say that there are no pictures of this man. Like, there is nothing from the DOJ website, there is nothing from the Sacramento website where I found this case. So for the next few minutes of me talking about this case, I am gonna only put stock images, stock footage, some cosplay stuff. I'm just gonna put convention pictures. So yeah, let's continue on with the video. Daniel Wayne Benner, a 35-year-old man from Sacramento, California, once had plans to start a children's birthday entertainment business where he would dress up as characters from My Little Pony. But in 2021, those plans became part of a much darker criminal investigation. Daniel was sentenced to 8 years and 1 month in federal prison after pleading guilty to distributing child sexual abuse material. He was also ordered to register as a sex offender after his release. During sentencing, Chief U.S. District Judge Kimberly J. Mueller acknowledged that Daniel had accepted responsibility for his actions, but emphasized the seriousness of his crimes. She specifically described his idea of appearing at children's birthday parties in costume as a major warning sign. Before receiving his sentence, Daniel briefly addressed the court through a video appearance, apologizing for his actions and expressing regret toward his family. However, prosecutors argued that a longer sentence was necessary, pointing to what they described as a pattern of disturbing behavior and the need to protect the public. Investigators first discovered Daniel while looking into a separate child exploitation case in Arkansas. FBI agent later searched his home, where they seized his cell phone and found numerous illegal images and videos involving child. According to court documents, investigators also discovered photographs of someone wearing a My Little Pony costume at what appeared to be a young child's birthday party. Daniel's Facebook page reportedly advertised a character for hire service featuring a Rainbow Dash costume, claiming the character would bring candy, music, and entertainment to children's parties through Sacramento County. Daniel later told investigators that he and his friends were only planning the business and had not gained any customers before his arrest. The case also involved disturbing accounts from victims whose abuse was recorded and shared online. Some victims described the lifelong trauma caused by knowing images of their abuse could continue circulating on the internet indefinitely. Daniel's defense attorneys argued that his actions were influenced by a troubled childhood. addiction issues, and mental health struggles. They requested a shorter sentence, pointing to the difficulties he faced while in custody. Ultimately, the judge sentenced Daniel to more than 8 years in federal prison, making it clear that the severity of his crimes outweighed those mitigating factors. Springett's Brony gets 7 years in prison for sadistic child. Robert E. Miller III, a 34-year-old man from Springettsbury Township, Pennsylvania, who was known to be a fan of My Little Pony, making him what the fandom refers to as a brony. In 2018, Robert was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison, followed by 10 years of supervised release after being convicted of possessing and receiving child material. He was also ordered to pay a special assessment as part of his sentence. The investigation began in 2016 when Detective Mark Baker of the Northern New York County Regional Police, who also served on the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force, examined Miller's computers. Investigators discovered hundreds of illegal files depicting the sexual abuse of children, including extremely violent and sadistic material. According to federal prosecutors, some of the content included animated depictions, while many other files involved the abuse of real children. Prosecutors stressed that the animated material did not lessen the severity of the case, describing the overall collection as some of the most disturbing content investigators had encountered. Assistant U.S. Attorney Darrell Ford Bloom noted during the trial that Robert was active in the Brony community. However, the reference was simply part of his personal background and was not presented as a motive or contributing factor in the crimes. Federal authorities ultimately took over the case, and the original state charges were dismissed in favor of federal prosecution. Following his conviction, Robert received a 7-year federal prison sentence and will remain under supervised release for a decade after completing his prison term. You have now reached the end. If you reached the end, thank you so much for sticking till the end. I did have to take like 2 days to film this because the first day after I completed filming, I quickly realized that the video was too short. So I had to take 3 more hours of my day to rewrite the script and adjust some things. I want to thank everyone for 200 subscribers. I never thought that I would reach the day that I would hit 200 subscribers. So I thank everybody who has subscribed to me. Thank you so much. It's literally a goal of mine to continue this YouTube channel till the end of my education. And I really do thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful for what I'm doing right now. Anyways, I have to get going now. Goodbye.